Remember, there's only room for one sovereign at a time, not two. So you can't be the same as the sovereign.
Everything is changing. Inside Buckingham Palace, a serious argument is happening that could change the future of the monarchy forever. What really happened when King Charles found hidden rules in his late mother's will that protected Prince Harry's money? Why are older royals pushing the sick king to change his plans to leave out his younger son?
There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff.
Join us as we reveal the most shocking inheritance fight in modern royal history, where family ties are breaking under the pressure of betrayal, money, and power. The Queen Mother's Secret Trust Fund. Long before Prince Harry ever met Meghan Markle or contemplated leaving royal life, his great-grandmother took extraordinary steps to protect him financially. The Queen Mother, who lived to the remarkable age of 101 before passing away in March 2002, understood that being the spare heir came with far fewer financial advantages than being the heir to the throne. With characteristic foresight, the Queen Mother established a trust fund in 1994 that placed an estimated 2/3 of her £70 million fortune into accounts specifically designated for her great-grandchildren. According to reports from The Guardian and BBC, at the time of her death, William and Harry would receive distributions at two critical ages. First, at 21 years old, when they would split approximately £6 million, and then again at 40, when an additional £8 million would be divided between them. But the arrangement was deliberately structured to allocate a larger share to Harry than to William, compensating for the enormous financial advantages William would inherit simply by being first in line to the throne. Royal biographer Christopher Anderson explained that the Queen Mother knew William would eventually inherit the Duchy of Cornwall, a private estate now worth over $1 billion that generates more than $30 million in annual income. Harry would never receive a penny from the duchy, so his great-grandmother made sure he would have his own financial cushion that couldn't be taken away by changing political winds or family disputes. When Harry turned here to 40, in September 2024, he reportedly received approximately $8.5 million from this trust. But while this trust protected Harry from complete financial destitution, it also became a source of bitter resentment among working royals who felt he didn't deserve such generosity after abandoning his duties. Princess Diana's prophetic estate planning. When Princess Diana died tragically in a Paris car crash in August 1997, she left behind two devastated sons and an estate valued at approximately £21 million. After inheritance taxes reduced that amount to roughly £17 million, Diana's executors made decisions that would protect William and Harry for decades. Diana's will had originally specified that her sons would receive their inheritances at age 25, but her executors successfully petitioned the court to delay full distribution until the princes turned 30, though they could receive interest payments starting at 25. Each brother eventually got around £10 million from their mother's estate when they turned 30 years old. Along with the money, they also received valuable items, which included Diana's beautiful collection of jewelry. In a heartfelt moment, Harry first decided to keep Diana's well-known sapphire and diamond engagement ring after she passed away. However, he later chose to give it to William when his older brother made the decision to ask Kate Middleton to marry him. Harry felt that the ring should be worn by the future queen. For Harry, his money from his mother, Diana, became very important when he and Meghan decided to stop doing their royal duties in early 2020. At that time, King Charles stopped giving them financial help. In an interview with Oprah Winfrey, Harry said that without the money from his mother, he and Meghan would not have been able to leave the royal family and start a new life in California. Diana had thought ahead and given her younger son the wonderful gift of being able to make his own choices. This money allowed Harry and Meghan to create a life that was different from what they had known before, giving them the freedom to choose their own path. But as Harry would soon discover, that choice came at a steep price that would put his entire financial future at risk. Queen Elizabeth's sealed will creates royal mystery. When Queen Elizabeth passed away at Balmoral Castle in September 2022, she was 96 years old. After her death, she left a will, which is a legal document that explains how her belongings and money should be divided after she is gone. This will was immediately put away and will not be seen by the public for at least 90 years. This practice of keeping royal wills secret has been around since the early 1900s. This secrecy is meant to stop anyone who might inherit from publicly questioning the will's terms. It also protects the royal family from having their private financial matters revealed to everyone. However, this lack of information can lead to rumors and guesses about what is really in the will. Without official documents available, people inside the palace can share bits of information that fit their own stories or agendas. What we do know is that most of Queen Elizabeth's personal belongings and money went to King Charles, who is now the king. This follows the tradition of keeping the royal family's wealth together. But experts believe that Queen Elizabeth might have given specific gifts to different family members. Queen Elizabeth was one of the wealthiest women in the world, but figuring out exactly how rich she was is surprisingly complicated. Her personal fortune was estimated at hundreds of millions of pounds, though the exact amount remains a mystery. What did the Queen actually own? Her personal assets included a stunning jewelry collection worth approximately $110 million that featured 300 pieces she owned it outright, not borrowed from the crown. She also privately owned Balmoral Castle in Scotland and Sandringham Estate, along with valuable investments in stocks, shares, and other financial holdings. Her art collection, racehorses, and various personal possessions added even more to her wealth. But here's what most people get wrong. The Queen didn't personally own Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, the Crown Jewels, or the massive Crown Estate worth $19 billion. These assets belong to the monarchy as an institution and are held in trust for future generations, which means they automatically pass to whoever is currently sitting on the throne. During her reign, Queen Elizabeth received income from the sovereign grant, which gave her 25% of the Crown Estate's annual profits to cover official duties, staff salaries, travel expenses, and maintenance of royal properties. But this wasn't personal spending money. It was essentially a budget for running the monarchy as an institution. While the world mourned Elizabeth's passing, another critical factor was about to make Harry's inheritance even more precarious: the Duchy of Cornwall divide. To understand why Harry's inheritance has become so contentious, it is important to first understand the enormous financial advantage that William enjoys simply by being born first. The Duchy of Cornwall is a private estate established in 1337 specifically to provide financial independence for the heir to the throne. This portfolio includes approximately 130,000 acres across England and Wales, and is currently generating massive annual income for whoever holds the title. When King Charles became king, Prince William got the duchy and the title of Prince of Wales right away. In the first year, he took care of the estate, which was from 2023 to 2024. William made a lot of money. This large amount of money means that William does not have to have a regular job like most people do. He also does not need to rely on money from the government to take care of his family or to support the good causes he cares about. Instead, he can focus on his royal duties and his charitable work without worrying about finances. Harry does not get any money from the duchy, and he never will. Before 2020, when Harry was a working royal, he received money every year from his father, Charles. This amount was about $4 to $5 million each year. However, everything changed when Harry and Meghan decided to step back from their royal duties. When they made that decision, King Charles quickly stopped giving Harry this money. As a result, Harry now has to rely on the money he inherited from his mother, Diana. The big difference in wealth between William's billion-dollar estate and Harry's financial situation has caused feelings of anger and jealousy on both sides. This situation shows that in the British royal family, where people stand in Howian, the line to become king or queen greatly affects how much money they have for their whole life. Being first in line, like William, means having a lot of money and support, while being further down the line, like Harry, can lead to struggles and fewer resources. But William wasn't content to simply enjoy his massive financial advantages while Harry struggled, because he wanted to ensure his brother paid an even steeper price for leaving. Camilla's influence over Charles's will. While King Charles is facing a tough battle with cancer that was found during a regular prostate checkup in early 2024, Queen Camilla has stepped up as a strong voice, encouraging him to make big changes to his will. Many different sources have shared with various news outlets that Camilla wants Charles to reduce the amount of money Harry will inherit. Instead, she wants him to give more to the working members of the royal family, and possibly even to her own son, Tom Parker Bowles. Reports suggest that as Charles's health has gotten worse, Camilla's influence over him has become even stronger. She has made herself out to be a protector of the future of the monarchy, making sure that it stays strong and stable. The problems between Camilla and Harry started before Meghan came into the picture. These issues are connected to the tricky history of Charles and Camilla's relationship. Both William and Harry felt a lot of anger towards Camilla because they loved their mother, Diana, who had a very difficult time because of Charles's affair with Camilla. In his book Spare, Harry talked a lot about how he feels about his stepmother. He shared that both he and William had doubts about Camilla and even asked their dad not to marry her. They were worried about how this would affect their family and their memories of their mother. What makes Camilla's current position particularly powerful is that she has Charles's ear during a vulnerable time when he's dealing with serious health challenges and feeling betrayed by his younger son. Sources suggest that Camilla has successfully aligned herself with William on the issue of Harry's inheritance, presenting a united front that Charles finds difficult to resist. A source told In Touch magazine in February 2024 that Charles is not obligated to leave Harry anything, and Camilla and William are urging him not to. They see the Sussexes as greedy fame seekers who can't be trusted. While Camilla whispered poison in the king's ear, William was launching his own aggressive campaign to ensure his brother got nothing, William's campaign to disinherit his brother. Prince William has reportedly become the most vocal advocate for drastically reducing or completely eliminating Harry's inheritance from their father. Sources describe William as disgusted by the idea that Harry would receive millions while living in California and criticizing the monarchy. According to insiders, William views Harry's situation as a betrayal of everything the royal family represents and believes that giving him a substantial inheritance would undermine the institution. The brothers' relationship has deteriorated to the point where some experts believe they may never reconcile. Harry wrote in Spare that William physically attacked him during an argument about Meghan in 2019, grabbing him by the collar and throwing him to the ground. Harry also described William as his beloved brother and arch-nemesis. William has never publicly responded to Harry's allegations, but sources say he felt Harry's decision to publish such private family moments was an unforgivable violation of trust. What makes William really angry is how Harry talks about being poor in public, even though he actually got a lot of money from both Princess Diana and the Queen Mother when they passed away. This seems unfair to William because he believes Harry should be more honest about his situation. Additionally, when Harry spoke to the BBC, he mentioned that he wasn't sure how much longer his father would live, while talking about safety issues. People who heard this thought it was a terrible thing to say and pointed out that matters about someone's health should be treated with great care and respect. A person shared with Brigada News Philippines in January 2025 that William has openly expressed his unhappiness about Harry getting any money or financial help. He believes that this situation weakens the royal family, especially considering that Harry has publicly criticized them in the past. William feels that Harry should not be benefiting financially while also speaking out against the family, as it creates a conflict that he finds troubling. Yet even as William's anger burned white-hot, King Charles's own health crisis was about to force everyone to confront the uncomfortable reality that time was running out. The cancer diagnosis changes everything. In February 2024, Buckingham Palace shared some important news. King Charles had been diagnosed with a type of cancer that was found while he was being treated for an enlarged prostate. This news changed a lot about how the royal family thinks about passing down their belongings and responsibilities. Now, at 76 years old, the king is not only dealing with the tough challenges that come with cancer treatment, but also understands that he might not have much time left. This means he needs to work on fixing any family disagreements and making sure his legacy is clear before it's too late. It's a serious situation that affects everyone in the family and how they plan for the future. Charles has never disclosed the specific type of cancer he has, though reports suggest he has been undergoing weekly radiotherapy sessions. In December 2025, he revealed in a televised message that thanks to early diagnosis, effective intervention, and adherence to doctors' orders, his treatment can be reduced in the new year, calling this milestone a personal blessing. Despite this optimistic update, the cancer diagnosis created urgency around inheritance questions that might otherwise have been postponed for decades. The news about the diagnosis made the already difficult relationship between Charles and Harry even worse. When the diagnosis was first shared with the public, Harry quickly traveled from California to London to visit his father. They had a short meeting that lasted less than an hour, which was not very long. However, when Harry came back to the UK a few months later, Charles chose not to meet with him. He said he had scheduling conflicts, but many people thought this was a way of ignoring Harry on purpose. This situation shows how strained their relationship has become, and it highlights the challenges they face in trying to connect with each other during such a tough time. In May 2025, a source told News Nation that Charles is indeed a sick man, and he does have cancer. He also refused chemotherapy and decided on a less invasive treatment. Whether this back-channel communication has influenced Charles's thinking about inheritance remains unknown, but the cancer diagnosis has undeniably made these decisions more urgent. While Charles grappled with his mortality, palace insiders began revealing that Queen Elizabeth may have anticipated this very situation decades ago. The hidden protections Elizabeth built in. While Queen Elizabeth's will remains sealed, royal watchers have long speculated that she included specific protections for Harry that would make it difficult for Charles to completely disinherit his younger son. The Queen watched William and Harry grow up under the shadow of their parents' bitter divorce and their mother's tragic death, and she developed particularly close bonds with both grandsons. Those close to Elizabeth have described her as pragmatic, deeply committed to fairness, and aware that Harry's position as the spare left him vulnerable. Many legal experts think that Queen Elizabeth might have set up special rules or financial plans that would ensure Harry and his children receive support no matter what decisions Charles makes. These kinds of arrangements are often seen in rich families because they help protect the people who will benefit from them, even if things change in the future. If Elizabeth did create these kinds of protections, they would probably give money to Harry and his kids when they reach certain ages or important life events, much like the trust that was set up for the Queen Mother. These protections would be completely separate from Charles's will, meaning they wouldn't be affected by what he decides to do with his own inheritance plans. It is also possible that Elizabeth set some rules about who would get certain things when she passed away. She might have said that some of her belongings should be shared among all her grandchildren or even great-grandchildren. For example, special items, like jewelry or artwork, could have been given to specific family members, but with rules that say they cannot be sold. Instead, these items must be kept in the family and handed down from one generation to the next so that they can be enjoyed by many family members over time. This way, Elizabeth could make sure that her treasured possessions stay within the family and continue to have meaning for everyone. But even the Queen's protections couldn't prevent an even more shocking development that nobody saw coming: Tom Parker Bowles's unexpected rise. One of the most surprising developments in the inheritance controversy has been the emergence of Tom Parker Bowles, Camilla's son from her first marriage, as a potential beneficiary of significant royal wealth. Tom, who works as a food critic and author, has maintained a notably low profile throughout his mother's relationship with Charles. But according to multiple reports, Camilla has been actively working behind the scenes to ensure that Tom receives a substantial portion of the inheritance that might otherwise go to Harry. Tom's rise in status seems to be based on a few important reasons. First, Tom has always stayed out of trouble and has never caused any problems for the royal family, even when he could have. This shows that he is responsible and respectful. Second, Tom has always been very supportive of his mother and her relationship with Charles, which shows loyalty and love for his family. Third, if Tom receives some of the inheritance, it would mean that part of the royal wealth would go to Camilla's children and grandchildren instead of just staying within Charles's family. This might be important because it helps to spread the royal wealth and ensures that Camilla's family is also taken care of. Most people are not happy with this, though. There are reports that suggest a plan where Harry would only get the smallest amount of money he is legally entitled to, while the rest of what he might have inherited would go directly to Camilla. After Camilla passes away, that money would then go to Tom. This plan would mean that royal money would be moved away from Harry's family, the Windsors, and instead go to Camilla's family, the Parker Bowles. It seems that William supports this idea because he would prefer the money go to someone like Tom, who he believes is loyal, rather than to Harry, whom he thinks has betrayed the family. It is still unclear if Charles will agree to such a big change in how the inheritance is handled. People who know the king say he feels conflicted. On one hand, he is upset about Harry's public comments and criticisms, but on the other hand, he still loves his younger son deeply. This situation puts Charles in a tough spot, as he has to think about what is best for both his family and the royal duties he has to uphold. Yet all of these conflicts, all of this scheming and betrayal, ultimately come down to one impossible question that has no right answer: the impossible choice between father and king. At the center of this whole argument is a really tough question that has been bothering King Charles a lot. He has to decide if he should be a loving father who cares for his son and wants to help his grandchildren, or if he should be a king whose main job is to protect the royal family and reward those who are loyal to it. Every choice Charles makes about who gets what in the inheritance is very important, because people will see it as a sign of whether love is more important than duty, or if someone who betrays the family should be punished no matter what their relationship is. This decision is not just about money, it's about feelings and family ties, and it can change how people view him as both a father and a king. Reports from multiple palace sources suggest that Charles himself remains deeply conflicted. People magazine reported in June 2025 that there is a desire on King Charles's side to reconcile with his son, indicating that the king hasn't completely written off the possibility of repairing their relationship. But the same sources acknowledge that reconciliation seems increasingly unlikely, as long as Harry continues to pursue legal battles and maintain his public criticisms. Charles has a tough decision to make, because whatever he decides will have a big impact on the royal family for many years to come. If he decides to take away all of Harry's inheritance, even though there are trust arrangements made by the Queen Mother and possible protections from Queen Elizabeth, people might think he is being really mean. This could make Harry seem like a victim, and many might feel sorry for him. On the other hand, if Charles gives Harry a lot of money and inheritance, despite all the negative comments he might receive, it could make him look weak. It would send a message that working royals who give up their private lives for their duties are not better off than those who choose to leave their responsibilities behind. This is a complicated situation for Charles, and he has to think carefully about the long-term effects of his choice on the monarchy. Charles's cancer diagnosis has made his difficult choice even more important. The king knows that once he makes his final decisions, those choices will shape how people remember him, just like everything he does during his time as king. It's really sad because it didn't have to be this way. If Harry and William had kept being good brothers, if Charles had been more open to change, if Camilla hadn't pushed so hard for things to go her way, and if Harry hadn't written that book, things might be different. There are so many moments we can look back on and think, if only this had happened. But now, we find ourselves in a tough situation, with a father who is very sick and a son who feels like he has to stay away from his family. Both of them are too proud or too hurt to reach out and try to fix their relationship. It's a heartbreaking situation that could have been avoided if things had gone differently. Do you think King Charles should protect Harry's inheritance as his mother and grandmother intended? Or should he prioritize the working royals who never abandoned their duties? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.